Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Um, my name is Tara Bahab. I am the founder of Loud Art Society, an organization that promotes health benefits of art and practicing creative activities. Alright, let me just let in our guest here. We have been operating since 2015 in the city of Calgary, and as far as we have held an educational art program as well as various public art events and projects. We also have an educational YouTube channel which is in Persian. It calls 1001 Nights Historic Shab. And if you go through our Instagram page or website or even our YouTube channel, Our Society, you will notice that some of our content is in Persian, and that's mainly because the Persian community has been very supportive of our activities so far. And we have recently started this project with introducing artists and introducing their stories to everyone from all around the world. And we are very excited today with our today's guest, Nurgul Rodriguez, a visual artist from Calgary. Hi, Nur. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm fine. Good morning. Hello. Merhaba. Hola.
How's your day going so far, Nur?
It's a good morning. I'm here. Exciting, kind of nervous, but I've been looking forward to having this moment, being able to talk with you, and I'm sure people are waiting also.
Yes. All right, well, let's get started then. We're not going to make people wait too much.
First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. This is a very nice feeling to be here and to be especially invited by you and by this organization. I've been following since from the beginning, I think, when we met. Loud Art Society first, 5-6 years ago. And you have been doing a great job, great work, great intention. I think it's very meaningful for me, really. And many of other voices, I believe that it's a very good development for our art community here in Calgary.
Thank you.
And right now it's becoming also global, which is very fantastic. I think it's very good. Hope.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation as well. I'm very excited to have you today. And although we know each other, I don't think I have ever heard your entire story. So I'm really excited to hear your story. So let's go and get started. Please tell us about yourself. Tell us your name and where are you coming from? How long have you been making art, and what kind of art is that you're making?
Yeah, you actually include a lot of questions. You sometimes try to bring me back some of those questions. It's difficult to talk about the life in a just moment, but I'm gonna try to do. It's not only my life only, because people who live with is very part of everything actually. When we especially live abroad, or let's say in a host cultures or adopted culture. First of all, I would like to call myself, I'm an immigrant artist in Canada. Since 2009, I'm a Calgary-based artist. Myself, I was born and raised in north of Turkey, in Samsun, Black Sea.
Nice.
And I completed my Bachelor of Fine Art in 9 Eylül University in Izmir, west of Turkey. I moved from my hometown and from home when I was Actually, first I studied, first of all, as a ceramic technician, 2-year degree. Then I went to Bachelor of Fine Arts. It wasn't enough. I said, no, I had to feed myself. Then I moved to Bachelor of Fine Arts. I left my country, Turkey, 2000, January 2000. Since then, I've been living abroad.
For 20 years?
Yeah. For 2 years, we lived my family, my son and my husband. We lived in Istanbul, but still it was abroad. It's living differently, going and coming. Currently, I'm focused on the sculptural and installation-based work, and also craft. How craft can be a political arts talking, and how it can function in our land that we are living in our community, for contributing to contemporary art. And also it helps me to merge my interest in text-based art. I use text in my artworks as a conceptual art, and to try to be more, how I can say, political and social context in art, in political and social context. Of course, pottery, I'm not a potter, but I'm kind of trying to bring how the pottery and body and art making in studio, how it can contribute my practice to reflect the lands where we live in Alberta. Actually, how the industrial is developed here, ceramic industrial, how this industrial environment became a kind of a cultural environment. Craft is more soft thing, but it used to be very strong industry and then feeding all the country. I'm trying to work on these subjects lately, last 3 years. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to explore the slip castings recently, wheel throwing, creating.
What's that again?
Wheel throwing, pottery.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
We say pottery, but wheel throwing is very, I think it's the appropriate way. And also, my works are mostly since I started 2017. 2017, I graduated my Master of Fine Art at the University of Calgary. I'm kind of distracted. Sorry about that.
Oh, no.
It's difficult to talk about the things what you are trying to do, but I would like to mention that I really work on trying to have a master degree here. It was the first obstacle for me was difficult to pass the exams, which I have exam problems. So then University of Calgary had a English for academic proposed courses. I'm mentioning all these things because it's still for immigrants so difficult to handle the academic level, and then all these language barriers and then boundaries. There are boundaries, but there are barriers also. So then I found this course, Academic English for Academic EAP, English for Academic program. So then I applied for the Master of Fine Arts at the University of Calgary. Then 2015, my real adventure started as a professional artist, trying to do. Right now, I'm kind of an emerging artist still, but it's seriously I can produce and exhibit and bring my work on a surface. And a very recent work has been big installation. I decided to make installation-based works, multi-pieces, large-scale porcelain works. I work with porcelain.
Nice.
And I do printmaking, but everything ends up and concluded by porcelain as a material. So this is what I can say right now, and then I can unfold more and explain while you are asking me a question, actually, or continue our conversation.
Sure. Just before I ask you my next question, I want to let you know that if our conversation prolongs, because this Instagram live has only 60 minutes,
Yes.
yeah, I will let you know if we are kind of getting close to that timeline and we still have our conversation going on. What I will do, we will end this conversation and I will go live again and you can join back in again and we'll continue.
Okay, thank you for
just in case, yeah. So it seems like you worked a lot with pottery and porcelain, and do you know if it's there's a specific reason that you are attracted to this material, or was it a choice, or you just kind of intuitively it just ended up every time to this material?
This material, actually, porcelain, working with porcelain is very intimidating for many ceramic artists or specialists, I want to say, who gets involved material, because ceramic, with ceramic, you really need to know what is a little bit science and how it works to understand our science side. And then clay comes from the soil, earth.
Right.
It has many different perspectives. So it makes you involve your body, your making, your hands. Any fine art is that, but clay or ceramic is more kind of requires like science knowledge.
The chemical aspects of it?
Yes. And it creates for artists lots of facets. You have to be clean, you have to be neat, and at the same time you have to love to get dirty to making processes, and you have to be brave to understand how becomes clay to ceramic. You have to understand chemistry of the material. If you don't, it's kind of, I feel lost. You know, I'm sure the painter has to know where the color is coming, where the paint is coming. It's everything is the same, but really clay. So porcelain, I always had a kind of a love. I don't want to say hate, but
love and hate relationship.
Relationship, kind of. Then when I was in my Master of Fine Art, my specialization is in printmaking. I was making papers and then making kind of an emboss, and I said, oh, would be nice porcelain, these things would be nice. And also porcelain is a man-made material, clay, but form. So it has lots of processes. You have to bring together very difficult elements of different materials, and then you make it's not like earthenware. Definitely some other clays also. Everything has to be made right now, but porcelain really requires lots of, it's man-made clay form. This is what we define. It is defined by as a terminology. So I said, I'm at the MFA program, so this is an opportunity. And I had a very brave classmate that I would like to tell her name, mention Alexandria Inkster. And no, we have to be wild and strong and brave.
Of course.
Okay. You know, our department, University of Calgary, is a very interesting, it seems like very quiet, but suddenly when people get together, it's like really everybody knows each other, and then suddenly gets one energy, and it was like that. Yes, excellent. And then I said, yeah, she tried to say something, right? And I kept that in my mind. Then I had a chance, I asked, what can I do with porcelain? What can I work in our Master of Fine Art? Actually, our school used to have the first Master of Fine Art degree in North America, 1980s, 1990s, I think, 1992. I don't want to say wrong date, but around 1992, suddenly it shut down the department.
Oh,
so I used to, and then I talked with our head of department, our Dr. Brian Rusted. Right now, I think he had his retirement, but and I asked, knock the doors, and how I can do? Can we do that? Then I got lots of support. Then I brought the porcelain in our place and in my practice life. And so far it's going very well, but I still don't know many things about it. I'm learning. And I think it's going to be lifelong. So, and also in province right now in Alberta, we have local clay company, Plainsman. I'm working with their material. So they bring the materials and then they make. So I'm trying to use the locally made clay brand. So everything is related.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that is the reason. And also the porcelain is a very, in the ceramic industry, it's a very aristocrat material. Its whiteness, its the use, its intention, everything has kind of a relation. And then whenever I make and bring it, I want to make accessible. And another thing I would like to say that whatever I make is a large scale installation. Recently, I started making form based, but I have to search first of all the forms, then they become kind of a form. And as I said, the slip casting trying to do, and I try to use as a place to work with. This place is Medalta. Our Medalta art is in residency in Medicine Hat. So I try to focus on everything, and then I go there. I use the facilities. I try to develop there because porcelain is a difficult material to such a home-based studio,
So does it require specific kilns as well for firing them?
Actually, I fire both in gas and electric kiln.
Okay.
Medalta has everything there, so whichever it works. But once you start the same body of work with similar kiln, it continues the same, similar, the same kiln. I can't say that way actually. It's very conditional things when you are there. If it doesn't work, if it works, so then it's
okay.
I try to use both, but if I make intentionally one form or the special firing techniques, of course I have to pick up the gas or regular kiln, electric kiln. Yeah, but it's a good question actually.
That's really interesting. So porcelain, when you purchase it, is it a solid or is it like a slip and liquid?
This Plainsman clay is they try to provide to artists both in the box as a the clay in the box, are also dust in the back, so then I make my own slip casting also. Slip clay also, not slip casting, slip clay. So what you do, they provide you also the how to prepare it, how to do everything. And also when they make this kind of clay bodies, they also try to develop some glazes related, or you can use with that clay body. So it's very comprehensive environment, I believe. I can say that way.
That's really interesting. Good, thanks for the information.
Yeah. And they are very helpful. They are awesome. Each time, whenever I go there, I learn new things, and they share all their knowledge because they have a lab. They search they give you all the information, and also online you can access any kind of information. How you can do, how you can fire, what is the shrinkage. And but I forced their limit, not their limit actually sometimes, because I wanted to make this clay body, which is called polar ice. It's a translucent clay body. I wanted to make it a black slip. So I had to mix it, and I say, how much I should put to reach this color? We never tried, so okay, let's try. So they help me how I can try. They give me how I can see, because when you mix with the color pigment, you change the body of the clay. So then you don't know the shrinkage, you don't know how it's gonna happen, how shiny, how matte color, all these things you have to work on that. Yeah. So then it was kind of a research and to figure out together. So whenever can you find it, can you send us? Yes, I will share with you. So we use the virtual environment also for that. So just we share online. Yeah,
that's great. Okay, I think we'll go. We'll get back to other questions, but I'm sure we'll come back to your art making process and progress again, and we'll talk more about that for sure. My next question to you is that so why and how did you start making art, and why did you choose visual art?
Yeah, it's a difficult to answer. It's a question really difficult to answer. I didn't want to be. I didn't intend to be a fine artist, actually.
Okay.
Fine art, but it was fine art, not visual artist. Sorry.
Okay.
I always wanted to be an actor.
Really?
Acting, yeah, and I tried very long time.
You did?
I was an amateur until I get, until I get my fine art essay. I didn't have any other choice. I could see. I really forced, and I try to prepare myself, the tests and exams, auditions, writing. Then my family said, no, you cannot be an actor. You cannot act. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. The main voice was my mother, but then I finally found out this ceramic technician, and then to get involved, I said, I need to do something that's related. So then I find out that I got in the university exams. So then that's way I started. First a ceramic technician, and then bachelor of fine art. Then I said, no, I'm going to be an artist. I don't want to be another thing. This is the thing that I want to do. I believe that it's going to help me to be somebody.
So when you started pursuing acting, how old were you?
High school.
High school.
Yeah, high school. But I didn't.
Did you have anyone in your family that were obviously not, I guess,
No.
that were no one is artist, no one is art related in any way?
Until my time, no.
Okay.
But everybody, we are coming from the land, and then very strong, let's say, the tobacco industry environment.
Okay.
Everybody's an artist there on the land, working on the land and living around of the things, the community of such very hard work. It's kind of everybody's a maker and developer and community member. So I think it is important. It was important.
Great. No, the only reason that I'm asking, I just wanted to know, like, if there was any support in your family that at least you could look up to and be like, well, I'm going to follow that path. But it's usually harder that way when there's nobody is doing any kind of art in your family, and yet you still have the passion for it and you want to pursue it, and they cannot really guide you or, give you any sort of recommendations.
Yes, sport is a very important thing. That's being an artist. I can bravely can say that I haven't been sported. I have to be honest. I haven't been. But at the same time, maybe they didn't support me. My voice even became harder and stronger, maybe. But it was always, my voice had to be down, down. And it's been always like that. And still I find it sometimes.
Are you the last grad at home or the middle?
Yes, I'm the youngest. Yeah, and my voice was very free and brave. It was nature, it's not about I'm brave. I'm everything scares me in the world. But if I do that, I say, if I, it's a very, very dangerous thing that Christy, but I run into in my life many strong people who loved me, who give their love, and then who gave their knowledge, who shared their food or home or their roof. It's been a very lucky life at the same time. I was going to say something that my elementary school teacher, Mustafa Kutsi Tümer, is I think my first inspiring and first feminist man in my life, and first person that who really made me brave, I can say, who gave me lots of courage.
What did she do?
He was telling almost whenever we study in the classroom, girls and boys, everybody in this classroom is going to be something. I know that. He used to tell us. I never forget it. And in that age, I'm talking about 40 years ago, or let's say, in that stage, you are just elementary school student, grade 4, and then you are hearing from a teacher this kind of words, sentences, and that makes you really think about it. What is this man? Why he needs to say this? Whenever I was repeating, Mom, my teacher is saying this and that. Why he says? I don't know. I'm thinking about that. It was like that because I've been thinking about that recently. We had lots of time this COVID-19 pandemic, rethinking and recreating the renovation of the mind and memories a lot. So that's why I'm able to say that. Yeah.
Wow. That's very nice. Yeah, so that's great that teacher was empowering you and inspiring you enough. I always think that they play a very important role in people's lives because
yes, they do.
Whatever they say, it just goes into your mind and it stays there forever. I also had a very inspiring teacher in my third grade, I think, and she was really into art and creativity as well too. And I remember we did my very first clay work and pottery with her. It was very fun. And then we did some painting on the pot. That was very fun too. But I don't know. I had also not very good memories of her too, because as much as she was inspiring, she also kind of did kill my motivation at some point because she was a little bit too critical of the work. I mean, like, I'm just like 8, 9 years old, and having that kind of criticism about the work of a student, it was just too much. She literally threw my work into my face one time, just because I used Scotch tape and I was out of glue. And so the characters that I taped them to the background were kind of flapping a little bit.
Yeah, being a teacher is very difficult.
Yeah,
You have to be really understand what is the diversity of the way of learning each student's words, especially art making. You are a teacher, so you teach, and you have to understand what is the line of fragility each student in learning. Not we are all fragile. We are all have difficult and easy sides, but especially learning is not about where you are coming from. It's how you are learning and how you learn teaching also. We have to bend ourselves also. It's really important. So, but teaching has been changing a lot. Maybe their way, those days, her way was maybe that way because of the pedagogies. But it's how much they impact us, how much they form us in that age.
Exactly. But you know what? I think I ended up taking a good lesson anyway. You know, it did hurt me the way that she did criticize me and she treated me. But well, of course, my mom had a conversation with her later on too.
Oh, nice. You're telling me that side of the story.
Yeah, my mom was always very, 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 you know, protective of me, and she would never let teachers who would do things like this just get by. But my piece of learning from that experience was that, okay, now I'm going to be more neat and clean with anything that I'm going to create, because she was the first and probably the last teacher who notified me about my work not being well handcrafted. You know, it was not tidy and clean as it should be. And that's part of art making. You know, you have to present it nice, and you know, we want to make it as perfect as possible. I know sometimes we just pretty much borderline perfectionism and obsession, trying to make it as perfect as possible, and you know, as clean, and we can strive for it. It's okay.
Most of the artists, they struggle in the school system. Actually, I've been hearing more and more students, especially when I go to artist in residencies or conferences, people who get together, actually not unsuccessful or not achievement. It's about the messiness, how to understand the environment. It's very diverse. And most of us actually with that system or with that environment we crash actually. Am I right? It's really hard to follow that line, to be in the line. Actually, we don't get on the line,
to be in line with their expectations. But as you said, you're right, like we have to learn as both students and teachers to be flexible, you know, in every way possible. And yes, and that's why we start developing our teaching and learning system as much as we progress, you know, in just the history. I think we look back and these are the lessons to learn from, that it's good to inspire students, it's good to empower them, but at the same time we have to know what is that fine line between, you know, criticizing or providing constructive criticism or analysis or some sort of recommendation to help them to better their work, instead of you know, making a deep cut in their soul and hurting them at some point.
Teaching again, not, it shouldn't be the bringing the student and the where the pedagogy is there. I think the way has to be, of course you have to learn the techniques. Techniques, they help you develop your skills, because you work with your body, then your mind, and then you're with material, and then where you are. All these aspects of becoming artist has to be, or working with art in art field, as a field or as an area or as a movement. You choose it by the development, you know. It's, but in the beginning, it's mostly is they trying to help the students technicity of how they do that.
Yeah.
To figure out, to give a place, you cannot tell which technique is going to help the student. This is what I always tell to my students. I cannot tell you how to do that. I can provide you this material, you choose and you came in my classroom, and these are the techniques, but whatever you are going to say and how you would like to say is your work.
Exactly.
I only can help you because you are the artist right now. No, I'm not the artist. I'm just no, but during this class, you are the artist. Everybody can be an artist. This is what I believe. But of course, becoming an artist is another way. It's a role. How do you go? And then teachers, they have to understand. This is what I believe in my classroom. And each time, first day of the class, I say, you are going to do, I'm going to guide you, try to guide you, but I'm going to be there with the skills and techniques. The rest is I'm going to help you. Of course, the course demands some other things for the credits, but your processes are making you your art and your artwork. This is very important for a teacher to understand, not only in art making. Every area, I believe that is very important.
Yeah.
You know.
But you see, again, I think as artists, we're more liberal. We have
to be liberal.
Mind. Yeah. We have a better and opener mind, I guess, than other fields of education. It's not so clear-cut and, you know, structured. Although we are not just all over the place either, you know, it's not like we don't have any structure whatsoever. We have lots of structure too. We create lots of rules in our own world and in our own art as well. And that actually makes it more difficult than if you had a set of rules that you would just follow them all the time, repeat it all the time, and never nothing is new and nothing is changing. So that's the challenging part about art and being an artist, I think.
Yes, there are lots of phases of the challenge in the artist, and also life is not that easy. You have to earn your life.
Right.
And art is very expensive major.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And we are lucky in Canada.
Yeah.
Recently, of course, everybody is impacted, especially art makers, and grants are very important here. So grant writing and learning and writing is very important in art making. An artist cannot do only go to studio and do something. You have to do lots of administration.
Yeah.
Really, you have to do budgeting. And you have to keep taking care of your HR part. You know? You have to hire, you have to look for people, you have to fire sometimes. You have to say, I'm sorry, your thing is not working for me. You have to be realistic, and you have to still run behind or around with the creators too.
That's true. Yeah, it is.
And you have to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
Of other people.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and it's getting more and more difficult. But I think we are all working on that, and at the same time, we have to stay as a liberal mind that you have to have all these obstacles in front of you.
Yeah.
They are not obstacles, but they are kind of a turn in a struggle.
Yeah, they're challenges.
But there are struggles. They handling with people is difficult.
That's true.
Especially the financial part. Yeah, for all the artists. But art making is good.
Yeah, I think all of that probably worth it because we end up coming back to it anyway.
Yes.
All right. Let me go to my next question to you. So, you know, because Louder Society actually promotes the health benefits of art and creativity or practicing art and creative activities, I wanted to ask you if your art practice had any effects on your health, or do you believe if it has any effects on your health in general?
Being healthy is a very interesting kind of a terminology in which context we can say healthy thinker, healthy living, or healthy. It's a difficult terminology, I believe. Of course, I would say instead of healthy, let's say I would say a good person. Of course, art making definitely. It's the intention of becoming a good, because you want to make artwork function to bring some opening path about the different ideas or different phases of the way we are living, how much the system works, how we are living. It's just a very real thing for me. Because I always wanted to make art and practice to talk about the real life and then real things. I'm not a very big dreamer, but while you are making, you have to be a dreamer. This has to be done. Or maybe you have to, let's say not a dreamer, but you have to have that illusion. You have to, in order to bring that illusion, you have to fill your thoughts with knowledge. You have to fill your heart with love. You have to be nice, not harmful to this world, to your people. And you have to be aware also how much people listen to you. People listen to you and then can listen the way you make what you make. And then, of course, all these things, being able to think all these facets of art making kind of develops a good person. Maybe, let's say, useful mind for this environment, wherever you live, or how you want to be. You choose it with your own words. You have to have your own manifesto. You have to have your own artist statement. Look what I'm doing. So you reflect through the writing, and first of all, what you are in your understanding. This is the vessel which is or with her or his or they walls trying to survive in this world, and then with the created, accumulated knowledge that brings out. So I think I'm trying to be a good person, and when you are trying to do a good, but at the same time, you cannot be completely a good person. You have to eat some parts. You have to over layer or unfold the things, difficult parts to know. So then health is if it's coming, it's not only about a personal thing, but if you are talking about the trauma, and if we are going to talk about how arts and art making helps traumas, yeah, it is a different thing. But health is a really interesting.
It's a very general word, I would say.
Yes,
being healthy,
so.
Especially in today's world. I think it has many different definitions. What healthy means.
Yeah.
You know, is it your diet that is healthy? Is it your physical activity that is healthy? Is it your mentality that is healthy? Is it your spirituality that is healthy? You know, like just health and well-being is this subject that these days is being looked at in, you know, deeply a little bit. And And when it comes to art, as you said, yeah, just because you look within yourself for your own art or creating your own art and understanding yourself better for creating that art and just developing that honest relationship with yourself first, that already makes a huge impact on you and whoever that is going to be around you. But also, there are also the artists that, excuse me, their main art is about their own traumas, you know, or like the past memories or whatever that has happened to them. That's also, you know, a therapeutic aspect of art for them, just to process their own emotions and forgiving and letting go from whatever that it has hurt them in the past.
Yeah.
And I generally believe that whenever that we are making art, it is because we have gone through our own emotions already. Like we have processed the emotions enough to feel ready for making something now. Because when you're going through the healing, at the moment that you have the most pain, you won't be able to create anything. You are going through pain. Once you move past the pain and now you're reflecting, now you're going through asking yourself, well, why do I feel this way? What happened? And how do I want to look at it from now on? How am I going to deal with it moving forward? Am I going to keep on, you know, with these thoughts, these emotions, or am I going to create something and move forward and just express myself about this, whatever that is in my head, and just let it go? And I think the best pieces of artworks, you know, masterpieces probably are coming from this place too. There is a very deep, dark, sometimes even that wound, a challenge, obstacle that they finally were able to move past it, and then this masterpiece was created from it.
Yeah, our art making is a kind of an agency for us. Most, yeah, it's a strong word, being an agency, but I think it will be a proper, especially when you start really understanding what is contemporary art and how it really needs to function with the, because contemporary art is we are changing, we are becoming every moment, and the things are changing. For example, recently, as the social fabric, understanding the white fragility, being black, having black people rights and everything, understanding right now what we are changing, what the communities are, how the communities are changing and interacting or interrogating. Everything is very, very intersecting. The intersection is really very difficult era, which should have been done earlier, I believe. Hopefully it's gonna take further all these things. This is another very deep and broad subject though, but contemporary art and trying to contribute to contemporary art is a very, really, how I can say, connected with the traumas, memories, have to bring. For example, these days we can see all the monumental sculptures are going down. Those sculptures, they were so meaningful. People were artists who worked for those sculptures, who monuments they came. They had some thoughts, and in the way they were looking the words. But there was art making process also on the other side. So it's very different. And it's really related with the empathic vision, and it has trauma, and it has to be memories. So the artist's role is reflecting the present, at the same time building the future, which the future was built, we were living in, but now it's changing. So it's very important to be global. It's very important to be national. It is. I'm not a nationalist person, but it has to be understood. They have forms, because symbolism is very meaningful in any era, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Contemporary art also is very difficult to deal with the symbolism. And also future building is very important. So when you contribute to contemporary art, but definitely is related with trauma. Definitely it helps also the artist as a theorist, as a thinker, as a maker, and then art making is very personal thing. More and more we can see there are many art programs, even the virtual environment or the TV programs, whenever they prepare, art doesn't go to the stage anymore. People go and see art, what artists they do in their studios, how artists they deal with their life, how there is thoughts they are bringing. So then there is a big role there. But at the same time, there is another thing that I would like to mention. Ego is a different concept. Ego is out of the art work. It's cleaned. It's coming out. So that part is very important also. So then even you reflect your own trauma through art making or with your artwork, it has to be relevant.
Yes.
And it has to be relevant. There is no other way. And we have to understand that relevancy.
Well said, well said. You know, especially now that you mentioned the ego and just processing again as an artist, when an art is created, I think it's beyond that ego. You finally put it aside, and that's what makes it relatable, because you're not making it just about yourself. It's the emotion, it's the feeling, it's what not only you experience it, but so many other people have experienced it or are experiencing it. Or as you said, for the future, this is something that we will be dealing with for next, I don't know, centuries still. So it's good that we just shine some light on it and start looking at it from now.
It's we are not a future teller, but your work has to be kind of prepared for the benefits, with the benefits for the future generations. So whatever we make has to help toward. We are in the very difficult to talk about subject, global warming, but it is here. It is in our life, and it reflects anyway. For example, in my firing, my clay or my ceramic, making ceramic, even when I have to make some of the way discover or explore, not exploring of the different firing techniques, I have to think the environment. There are beautiful raku technique with the smoke environment. Excuse me. So then I've been thinking, you know, you have to think the word is bringing aesthetic is not, that technique was needed and then used in a very way, but when you make your raku technique, you create smoke.
That's true.
Example. And then you use special glaze to reach to some effect on artwork. But at the same time, you have to think, so who is going to have effect? First of all, my lungs. And then earth is going to have more smoke. The other thing, whatever you make, it has to be very thoughtful.
Yeah, and environmentally conscious as well. And
and your artwork, your artwork also has to bring in or surface awareness of whatever you are working on. For example, I made 1,095 pieces of installation at Medalta, and each piece is was done by my hand.
Okay.
Pottery. And then I trim them, and then I fire them, then glaze again, second fire, glaze firing, everything came. Before firing, when they are read also, each one I give some words on. So this work, let me say this way, WISE 1095 pieces. It's related about this installation. It's going to be an installation. Mm-hmm. It is 1095 days is the days that each immigrant in Canada has to accumulate before you apply, become eligible, applying to Canadian citizenship program. It's a program. So in 5 years, you have to accumulate these days, and each writing has to be 2018 days minimum. So I made all these works. This same year, I got my Canadian citizen, completed September 7th. The 7th is September 2018. I went to Medalta and I started making. I said, I want to reflect this experience so that I can create a voice. I asked a grant, and Alberta Foundation of Arts, that it gave me a nice grant, $11,000, supported me. And I went and I used this grant there at Medalta. It finished. My aim was, I'm giving also this information, how it took it. My aim was finishing it in 4 months, but it didn't. So I extended for 5 months with the support of the Medalta Arts program, Artist in Residency program coordinator. I really appreciate that. And now this work is going to be at the BNL 2020, Alberta BNL 2020 in September. It's going to be in the Remy Modern. Why I'm telling this, each work, actually, each piece is not going to be my work. It's going to be taken by audience. The one condition is each person who wants to have that cup has to answer one question from the Canadian citizen test with the handwriting cursive. All I need to have their knowledge, this paper, and then they are gonna able to take one of that cup, adopt that piece in their life. But my aim is not to reach only immigrants. Making art has to bring awareness. This was what I started. This experience doesn't come only by immigrant, only the immigrant side. Where you go, you change the world. Where you go, that other person, other people next to your door, left side, right side, in front of you, change their conditions also. So we start living together. But how much we are aware of each other? How much we are doing for each other? Whenever I say I have to study all these things, oh, I know this war happening. Oh, I was born here. I don't know this. My neighbor's house, for example. Or I don't know anything about the history of this. Or how the Constitution built up. What do you have to know about this land and history, indigenous people? What happened in the history? How much it was right or correct? So we all try to live together. And then there are many terminologies, them and us. And so I try to bring all these things in my artwork. Just with the example, I try to say that this work is in my home right now. They are in the boxes in the basement this 2 years. So hopefully they are going to find their homes and a place. So awareness.
That was really interesting. That's really interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it. Hopefully we can come to this Biennale and look at the exhibition. Which city is it going to be? In Edmonton?
Saskatoon, no. Edmonton, this actually Alberta Biennale, but later it became a inter-provincial Biennale.
Okay.
It's gonna be the Saskatchewan and Saskatchewan and Alberta together, they decided to make it actually. They joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
Mine is gonna be in Saskatoon. Remy Modern is in Saskatoon, and some part is in the AGA in Edmonton. So two cities shared artists.
Okay.
Works. Yeah.
I'll be right back with you. I'll